What if there was a way to make more progress in life without unnecessary suffering or misery? What if you could unlock your brain power, your full potential, get out of your own way, and be your most authentic self? What if you could transform your life into what you actually want it to be and not be controlled and manipulated by outside forces? It doesn't require anything crazy. It's actually so simple that we miss it. And this might actually be a hidden secret that people have used and figured out to get ahead, amass wealth, and gain positions of power. The answer is a two-syllable word that we hear all the time: balance. When you learn supreme balance, you can make more progress with less effort. You can learn how to use the law of polarity to advantage, which we'll talk about. It doesn't sound crazy exciting, like, oh, be balanced. Sounds pretty boring. But I promise you, the more we dig into it, you will get excited about it. This is how you can truly master your reality and manipulate your life how you choose. One thing about life is that there are patterns that underlie literally everything in existence. There are basic principles that apply to literally everything. That's where you get sacred geometry. That's where you get as above, so below. That's where you get as within, so without. The structure within us, the same geometrical patterns are found everywhere in the universe. Everything that makes up life is a sine wave. The sine wave is found pretty much everywhere. Yeah, the thing we learned about in calc, and we were like, why do I ever need to know this? Turns out it was pretty important. Sound produces vibrations that are little sine waves going up and down. Light is doing the same thing. It vibrates much faster than sound, but it's still going up and down in these oscillations. Electricity moves in a sine wave. Even our brain waves or our brain activity does the same thing. The sine wave goes up, reaches its peak, and then goes back down and reaches the trough, constantly alternating from high to low. This is where we get the concept of polarity. Positive and negative are woven into the fabric of our universe. Polarity exists in our life as opposite sides or poles of the same thing. You have up and down, light and dark, creation and destruction, birth and death. You have the seasons functioning as a sine wave. You have two sides of the same coin. At the core, there are positively and negatively charged atoms that make up everything in existence. Looking at the sine wave, you can see that the universe is always trying to find balance. Our brains, our hormones, and our bodies are always subconsciously trying to find balance or an equilibrium too. But I've noticed that when I force something too much, it usually always backfires. I've noticed that when I try to work on a weakness that I have, for example, like I used to be too people pleasing, so I started working on being more bold, being more authentic, being more myself. I end up getting so good at being bold that I find myself on the other side of the spectrum where I'm being too bold and it's almost like it's too much. I'm in the same situation basically that I was in when I was too people pleasing. Now I'm just on the other side. Or I always used to try to control everything, just try to overplan, and then I started wanting to be more free flowing and just accepting and going with the flow of life. And then I found myself on the other side of that too, where I was just going with the flow too much. And I was unbalanced on the other side. I always find myself having to almost go back and revert to that weakness that I used to have and reincorporate that back in, which tells me that the key is really to just stay balanced. It's like you can work out too hard and it destroys your body, or you can work out too little and your body gets destroyed. So, how can we find that middle path where we can make progress without wasting time or going through unnecessary suffering? The key is learning how to rise above polarity and master it by decreasing the swings you have, the ups and downs, and instead just make progress consistently. The little fluctuations like the sine wave, they're inevitable. But how can you minimize them? One of the ways to unlock the power to manipulate our lives how we choose is to learn how to get to the 0 point. It's a state of complete balance where we basically cancel polarization out. If you've ever gone kayaking, you know you have to paddle on both sides to go straight. Sometimes you get off track, you get to the edge, and you got to really use big strokes and a lot of effort to get yourself back on track. And if you only paddle on one side, you'll just go in circles. But if you're constantly paying attention and you're paddling just little by little on each side, you're going to get to your destination faster and with less effort. You're paying attention to changes in the current, changes in the flow, and you adjust, you don't have to do as much. The most significant power that we can have resides at where the poles meet, the center where good and bad merge. When we achieve this state of balance, everything becomes beneficial and even little actions go a long way. The 0 point is a state of being neutral, a state of being depolarized, not being affected by polarity. Being depolarized makes it difficult for others to manipulate you, and it increases your ability to react to life the way you want and not react automatically. How do you do this? It starts by creating the 0 point state in your mind, because your life is just a reflection of your mind. Cultivating the ability to stay fully present no matter what. I talk about this pretty much all the time, but you can check out this video on how I learned how to control my mind and stay present. When you stay present, you're just existing. You're not forcing your will onto life. And when your mind is silent, it's not so turbulent, then your hormones tend to stay more balanced. This is huge, obviously, for health reasons, but if you cultivate this enough, you can get to a state where nothing outside can affect you on the inside. You're the most balanced when you're relaxed. You can literally feel how differently you show up when you're relaxed. I feel like it's super valuable to train yourself to stay relaxed in any environment. You become internally directed as opposed to externally controlled. The ultimate 0 point is when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are all fully aligned towards what you want. Then you have no inner resistance. Nothing is holding us back and getting in our way, and usually the biggest thing that gets in our way is ourselves. We're looking to reach unification or coherence within ourselves. Maybe I'll make a separate video on this, but a way to reach that unification is to balance both hemispheres of the brain, the left and right sides of the brain, your logic and intuition, your masculine and feminine qualities. A lot of geniuses throughout history did things with both hands, and I guarantee you that people in power today focus on balancing both hemispheres of the brain. Meditation is known to balance the left and right hemispheres. Studies have shown that experienced meditators have a thicker corpus callosum, which is the bridge that connects both sides. I recommend looking into the Monroe Institute. He created a series of sound frequencies or binaural beats known as hemisync, which are made to balance both sides of the brain. And I gotta mention that getting caught up in political races, in the news, in all the drama and all the negativity is not a way to transcend polarity. I don't get into conspiracies anymore, but I do believe that there is some kind of division agenda to create the illusion of division and force people to pick sides and pit us against each other. I think a lot of it is played up on purpose. The race wars, the actual wars, all the drama that just stirs up our emotions, keeps us in a lower version of ourselves, and keeps us from unlocking the potential within ourselves by uniting within us and then uniting with other people. Think about what we could accomplish if we actually unite. And it starts with doing it within ourselves first, because a lot of us are being pulled 100 different directions. My theory is that whoever is in control knows how we work better than we do. And it is beneficial to them when we are off balance. Artificial opposition is created to stop cooperation. When you rise above all that BS and don't let it affect you, just focusing on yourself and strengthening yourself and improving yourself, none of that can affect you. What would be good without bad? What would be positive without negative? If there was no bad, the concept of good would have no meaning. Negative and positive are super vital to our existence at the atomic level. And that positive and negative manifests itself everywhere else in life. We might as well embrace the good and the bad of life because it's all part of it. You can definitely have too much of a good thing and it becomes detrimental. Through the process of transmutation, negative energy can be transferred into a positive force. We can use polarity to our advantage and swing in the direction that we want. Challenges can become opportunities for growth, and nothing is inherently negative. All experiences become valuable. With this mindset, you can rise above the swings of polarity. Even the most negative thing in your life can be transformed into a benefit. People that have been alcoholics and have recovered can go around and speak and help people with the same problem. An injury can be insight into how to align your body and to treat it better. If you're stuck in traffic and you're angry, you can use it as an opportunity to learn how to relax and control your emotions. If you're struggling and in a tough financial situation, you can use it as fuel and as motivation to help you get out of it. Another example of polarity, the two poles of acceptance and resistance. If you resist an unpleasant situation and just want it to be over and avoid it, you actually align yourself more with it and you stay focused on the negative. Accepting it changes the energy of how you view it and allows you to pivot more towards the positive. Accepting it as a learning experience, as a test, as something to gain from. We're gonna probably still experience negative situations, but how do we label it? In the end, they won't be able to hurt us because all we do is benefit. This is how you can master polarity and begin to manipulate your life how you choose. This is the key to breaking free. And I think the more we learn how life works, the more we're going to learn how ourselves work, and the better the world is going to be. If you found this valuable, don't forget to give the video a like, make sure you subscribe, and comment with any feedback. Peace.